we gonna dive back into that media scrum conversation because
for sure.
I got something to bring up because
Sure.
the way journalism is in wrestling is funny. It's
It
fickle and it's fake as fuck.
It is.
With all those F's, my nigga. I want to keep that in there, my nigga. Like y'all niggas, you know what I'm saying? And the media scrum to ask those questions and the nigga to say, yeah, this shit bigger than Hogan and Savage. And like nigga are like, okay, how? Right? Because Tony Khan and this fucking
Well, Eric Bishop, let him feel that way. You don't gotta go and shit on CM Punk after that.
Hold on. Okay. Now I'll get back to that because why let him feel that way is false.
We don't
right?
know. We don't know, honestly.
How we don't know when Adam Cole clearly Adam. Let's compare him. Let's compare him.
Oh, let's go.
Right now in the company, Cole, Punk, Danielson, outsiders, Randy, Hogan. It's not a fucking comparison. That's my point.
Today, yeah, that's true. Like today, based off of history, we can say it's not a comparison because it just happened last year.
No, we can't.
We don't know what the impact of this is going to do for AEW until I will give it another 10 years to see, okay, what did that do for wrestling? And then there will be a conversation. What did this moment do for wrestling? Now, I get it,
okay.
you know, and
okay.
You know, and it might not be. You know, as I said, right now, it's not.
So Eric Bischoff responded to that and said, he wasn't trying to pick a fight, but he believes that Punk is currently the biggest financial flop in the history of wrestling. Punk has some very edgy comments that I'm assuming were directed to me because they were in response to something Conrad and I said in a very interesting conversation about current wrestling. But evidently he got a little case of ass rash and decided to lash out on social media. So he said this. I published his quote. I didn't make anything up. I took his quote and posted it and said, "How's that working out?" Hold on, I'm sorry. I'm reading this for the first time. Give me some. Okay, here it says, "How many millions of dollars in net profit and T-shirt sales is he doing?" Nobody knows, and we're responding to a comment that aren't backed up, which is what I'm saying. If somebody can show me, then I'll eat my words, and I'm happy to do that. I'm wrong a lot. I'm aggressive, and I talk shit, but I'm not always right, and if I'm wrong, I'm wrong.
Okay.
So far, all we get is he's selling out so much merchandise. How much is he selling? By the way, once the initial excitement of anybody, not just CM Punk, you bring in, you launch a new t-shirt, new merchandise is a big hit, and it levels out. Something new, and if you're not really over, you can continue to come up with new merchandise and fill a tank. I don't know if that's true. So pretty much he's saying, I'm saying this is what he's saying. Not pretty much. He's saying this. I'm not saying he certainly hasn't had any impact on advertising. Only Turner Broadcasting would know that. Nobody at AEW would know that because AEW doesn't sell their own advertising. Turner does. In terms of the context of Punk comparing himself to Randy, Scott, Nash, and the impact of WCW versus Punk coming out and saying he's a bigger deal in terms of rating, he's falling flat on his face. He came out to a $1.17 million. He came out to a 1.17 million people on a Friday night debut on Rampage. It's down to 400 and 500,000 on average. Punk on Dynamite did his premiere 1.29, and they came out, and now they're hovering around 900,000. Which they've been doing for, I don't know, a year and a half, and they didn't need Punk to do so. So, I mean, empirically, he's not
wrong. Absolutely not. But wrestling is not in the same space it was in the 90s. You know, Eric Bischoff is a TV guy. He's a TV guy, so he's going to look at it from a place. I do think that he's a little salty because he's like, all right, you know, let's have this debate because that's his impact, you know. But I think he's kind of hating on AEW a lot. I do. I think that AEW is doing what he did in a different way, and people are having fun. People are having fun there. People are enjoying it. People want to be there. People are watching the shows, are having fun. There's an energy about it that hasn't been with any company competing with WWE since WCW. And I think that he sees that. At the end of the day, you don't need to crush the competition to make an impact. My point,
that's not Punk's impact, though.
huh?
That's not Punk's impact.
No, I know.
That's not Punk.
I'm just talking about AEW as a whole, and that he's a guy who ran a company, and he's a TV guy, so he's gonna look at it from the TV numbers of how and the money, and that's a great valid point. It's logical. It's you can you can track that, and I hear where he's coming from. But as far as impact today in wrestling, that move, do I think it's as big? No. But then again, I was there as a kid when that happened, and I will see how the kids today feel about Daniel Bryan and them in 10 years moving, and then what that did for the wrestling atmosphere. Do I feel like wrestling is growing? I do. I do think that AEW being around for as long as it has and having the success that it's having, continuing to add talent and adding Punk, a guy who came back, makes them a viable company. They take every asset that is going to make them a better show, and they try to work with it. And I do think that's a huge impact. As far as Hogan, come on. I think that's a bit much, personally, But, I mean, everybody can have their opinion.
But that's the ego shit that I was talking about.
Punk?
Yeah.
Yeah, I know he has. Everybody knows that Punk has an ego.
But this is what I'm saying. Like, listen, you know how I am, right? Like, listen, don't bullshit a bullshitter, bruh. You came back for that rush because you don't do drugs. This the only drug that gave you a fix, my nigga. This the only thing that gave you that feeling, my nigga. You went to UFC, you was a dud, my nigga. You did broadcasting, you was a dud, my nigga. You didn't do nothing in your afterlife that fulfilled what wrestling is. That is an ego trip. When you come back and say you came back for the love, my nigga, then you come back for the love of the game. You come back, you say, okay, AEW, I know I'm not the guy, but my ego thinks that I am the guy. So let me take the ball and let me run with it. That ain't what you're supposed to do if you're a real OG in this business. If you're a real OG in this game, if you want to be the change that you say that you want to put, like you want to talk about when Sasha and Naomi situation happened, and he had this whole situation like, yo, we got stand up, you know what I'm saying? Okay. Swole happened about a month and a half, 2 months, 3 months before that. You was in the company, bro. Did you hold Tony feet to the fire when we talking about how we treat our people?
Absolutely. You speaking facts.
You know what I'm saying? Like, so Punk, when you that guy, you want to talk about, you want to hold the champion to me. I want to make this company money. I want to make not only myself money, but the company money. No, you started off by saying, I want to make myself money first.
That's true. As he should. He has the right to. He has the right to do that.
Elevate the cachet. For what? You CM Punk, you done made all the fucking money.
I'll tell you this right now. CM Punk is not Daniel Bryan. They're just two different guys. CM Punk is the veteran that comes back like Hulk Hogan for the glory.
But that's why he ain't got the love for me like that, though.
Yeah.
That's why he ain't got the love for me. Because Triple H told me back in the day, you want to talk about 10 years ago, right? 2012 on Raw, Triple H with the ponytail said, nigga, you motherfucking put on the makeup of a martyr. You want to backdoor that shit. When I came in and told niggas that Punk should have came in from Jump Street like, I'm back, I feel good, and I want to be champion. If you tell me that from Jump, I know your motivation. I don't have to second guess it. I don't have to have this feeling that I have right now if you came in and been a G straight up off top and said, I'm coming back for the strap. But you didn't. He came back for the love. He came back and wanted to wrestle Bret Hart matches and shit.
Daniel Bryan said he came back, he's trying to kick people's faces in. That's what Daniel Bryan said. He's doing that. That's what
Daniel Bryan doing right now. Fucking title, fucking nigga. I'm stumping niggas' faces in, nigga.
I hear you. We know CM Punk is a very controversial figure in the wrestling community, but
he's a controversial.
Come on, we can't do that to the guy, man. He got it. Listen, I mean, at the end of the day, I think you have a
Listen, if
point.
I was at that media scrum, I would have asked that nigga straight up. Like, what you like? I would have did the Drewski. What do you mean by that? You know what I'm saying? Like, you wanna enhance this company? How do you do that? Because I understand dream matches of Hiroshi Tanahashi and CM Punk. Boom, right? Okay, we finally gonna get CM Punk and Kenta. Okay, boom. All right. But do any of those matches
You know
need the
what? That would
title?
have been better than
Hold
Tanahashi.
on, but does any of those matches need the title? CM Punk with his name can elevate the company and bring in that fucking cachet without holding the title.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. And honestly, you're kind of swaying my opinion, but it's not a wrong decision from where AEW's at.
Correct.
I do think that seeing his reign is going to be interesting and how he holds it. But I wouldn't give it a super. I wouldn't want him to have a super long reign. I'll be honest right now. I wouldn't want it to be a super long reign. But yeah, speaking of